religion. No other religion calls upon its founder to answer such a test. There is no test for it. For avatar, for incarnation, there is no test. But there is a test for the Buddha. To become a Buddha, there is a test, and that is the important part in this. So, what is the purity test here? Because it is mostly similar to the Jatkas and incarnation, Jatka theory. So, we may find some things which we feel that it is impractical too. Therefore, I read it first because while reading this points, earlier points which is mentioned from 1 to 20, it will clear our doubts. It's very important and a kind of difficult part because we won't be explaining each and every point thoroughly here because it comes in the later stages. It is just a glimpse of it, we can say. So here it is said that before enlightenment, Gautama was only a Bodhisattva. What is Bodhisattva? That is a question which it is raised here, and it is said a Bodhisatta is a person who is seeking to be a Buddha. Means before becoming a Buddha, the person has to be a Bodhisatta. Now, if one is Bodhisatta, how he becomes a Buddha? One, first he has to be Bodhisatta. The second is how this Bodhisatta moves to become a Buddha. That is all explained in this chapter. Now we'll go through it where it is said that they are the 10 powers. A Bodhisatta requires 10 powers. That is the important thing which a Buddha has to acquire within himself or herself. I'm using the word herself also because people say that only men can become a Buddha. Therefore, I'm saying no. If we learn about the Buddha's teachings, there is no gender discrimination. So here it is said that it is mentioned here in the 5th point, a Bodhisattva must be a Bodhisatta for 10 lives in succession. See, again here it comes here, which is saying that lives in succession. So we won't be able to understand here what is life in succession. Everyone will think that one full life they have to be, means 10 lives they have to live to fulfill this. But generally it is not so. They are the stages in the same life. Because Buddha was clear in saying that every moment we have a new birth. And these 10 stages, we can explain it now, where it is said that in his first life, he acquires Mudita. Means whenever we want to continue any good thing or a life to be pure, for that we have to be in Mudita. Mudita means a joyful part of our life. Means our mind should be very joyful. Where the Bodhisattva having blown off his impurities. What it is said? The impurities means from the mind, all the impurities has to be taken off. After that only joy will be there. As the smith blows the dross from silver, it is said that when we go to a jewelry shop and we want to find out the pure jewelry like what we can say gold, metal, gold or silver, they beat it. They beat it hard and also put it in fire. Then the impurities is thrown off and a pure metal comes out. the gold or silver. In the same way, the man or the person who is careless, it is said reckless here, we can say they are reckless, they become bright. They become bright. Of the world like the moon freed from clouds. As how when the moon is without cloud over it, it is shown very bright. We can see the moon, brightness of the moon when there is no cloud over it. It is like that. And joy springs up in him realizing this, and he is fervent in his desire to benefit all beings. And when this joy arises within, after throwing all the impurities, what the mind is with joy, it acquires it becomes passionate and enthusiastic to benefit to the people. If you are not joyful, if you are not in mudita, you will be thinking about your sorrows. But if you are joyful, you will be thinking of others, how they can be benefited. This is the first power, and it does not require the whole life to do only these things. This part, the fulfilling a mind with joy, it is for the every moment in the life we can enjoy it. The second life, it says, it acquires Vimla in purity. Because see, when there is a joy in the mind and all impurities are thrown off, automatically the mind becomes pure. This is called Vimala. The Bodhisatta has now removed all thoughts of lust in its kind. Lust, he is kind to all. He neither flatters the vices of men or disparages their virtues. Means all the required lust which is not good for a good human being is already thrown out of such kind of purity this Bodhisatta has. And his behavior is so kind to all that he never sees whether the person is full of virtues or is full of vices. Vices means we can say evil things, the bad things. So this Bodhisatta never disregard or never shows that this a person who is following the morality or a good person, we should avoid him, or an evil person, we should not say against him. Means is so pure in his mind that his behavior is almost supporting the truth. Whatever the behavior is, it's supporting the truth. In the third life, he acquires the Prabhakari, and this Prabhakari means this purity brings brightness on the brightness. When we look at a person with pure heart or pure mind, we see this brightness on the face and also in the behavior. So this brightness is of the intellectuality. Intellect of the Bodhisatta now becomes a bright as a mirror. Therefore, when we say sabba papassa akaranam kusalassa upasampada sachitta pariyo dapanam etang buddhana saso. This dapanam is the mirror, which reflects the truth, which reflects what's there in the mind. So this reflection is always there, and therefore it is said that it's a kind of mirror who knows the truth. What truth he knows? He knows the truth of impermanency, that everything is changing. Everything is changing. We cannot say that it remains as it is. This truth he knows. And it is said anatta. Anatta has two meanings. Anatta is talking about the no soul. There is no soul. Means Buddha theory says that there is no soul. But other thing is there is no ego itself. So the Bodhisatta is egoless and knows the truth that there is no permanency. It's always impermanency is there. His only wish is for the highest wisdom. And because of this, he moves on the path of wisdom to gain the highest wisdom. And for this is ready to sacrifice anything. To become a Buddha, these are the stages which one has to go through. The first we said about the joy. Without joy, we cannot gain purity in mind. And without purity, you cannot gain the brightness because you should know the truth. So these are the three things which we are able to understand here what Bodhisatta is doing in his life to gain, to attain the enlightenment as a Buddha. And the sacrifice is the most important part here. At the third stage, to gain this wisdom, everything is ready to sacrifice. Now the fourth life says, acquires arichamati, intelligence of fire. The Bodhisatta in his life fixes his mind on the eightfold path, the four contemplations, the fourfold contest, the fourfold willpower, and the fivefold morality. These are the words which are explained in the later chapters in this book. So we won't be able to explain this here, but we can understand. Everyone knows about eightfold path. Everyone knows about the mindfulness. That is the contemplation, four contemplation, which he has gone through while he was attaining the knowledge. The extreme knowledge, the highest knowledge. About the fourfold struggles with the mar, we know about the mar, the evil thoughts in his mind coming. The fourfold willpower, which he requires to struggle with them, to contest them, and also the fivefold morality. This requires a hard efforts to acquire all this, to master all this, the eightfold path, for contemplation, fourfold contest, fourfold willpower, and fivefold morality. A person requires a hardcore effort to gain this. And this, therefore it is said, intelligence of fires, that is tapna, to go through the fire, to burn ourselves. So hard it is, therefore it is of the intelligence, not of the body, like as we had gone through the earlier chapter where tapasya, Siddhartha went through not eating or doing many kind of things. But here it is of the mind. Therefore it is related with the intelligence of the fire. Okay, so here this fourth life, it is said, the four stages we can say, the fourth power we can say. He goes through it. In his fifth life, he acquires Sudurja, that is difficult to conquer. He fully understands. And after going all this struggle, he conquers everything. He wins everything, and he understands what is real and what is not real. We can say that way. The word it is used to relative and absolute. So the difference between the two and work accordingly. He gets that power to know this because he has gone through all the struggles of getting, that is called the intelligence of fire, and then he wins. And the sixth life, says that it is the abhimukhi, he becomes abhimukhi. The stage of Bodhisatta is now prepared fully to grasp the evolution of things. It causes the 12 nidas and this knowledge called abhimukhi. He gets this knowledge. What is the knowledge? That is how the things are evolved in the life, in the world we can say. How things are evolved. He gets that power to know the truth from where it is evolved, all the things. And to know that the evolution of things, it is because of the cause. What are the cause? That are called the nidans in Pali. There are of 12 types of nidans, which again we'll understand it in later chapters. So this kind of things, all the causes he get to know. He get to know the evolution of things and the reasons behind it, the cause behind it, and he becomes abhimukhi. That means the compassion, you can say, the deep compassion is developed in his heart. And when this deep compassion is there, he knows that other people who don't know this, they are ignorant. Their eyes are closed, they are blind, they don't know the real truth. So they are ignorant. And thus he makes the difference between ignorance and the knowledgeable things. What he knows everything. The seventh life, he says, the Bodhisatta becomes Durangama, going far off. The Bodhisatta is now beyond time and space. He is one with infinity, but he still remains Nama Rupa out of his great compassion for all beings. Because it is said that through the mind, he understands everything. Through the intelligence, because of the greatest knowledge he is achieving, the time or space, the interval, he does not matter to him. Therefore, it is said that he goes far off. Far off means from the life of a general public. How we live, we are living in this life with all the things which are not required. We want many things, we desire many things, and thus it is Siddhartha, Bodhisatta we can say, because he is Buddha now. This becomes Buddha, the Bodhisatta. He becomes Buddha, so he is gone out of all the living beings. How we are living in this world, but still he has his body, that is the Rupa, and he has the Nama. Nama is the mind, the Chitta. A body is made of Nam and Rupa, that is body and mind. So he has this, we can see that we were able to see his body with Chitta at that time, just because he has compassion for all beings. And thus, living with the people, he was able to do good things for the human beings, for all beings. With great compassion, he was there with the body, with the Nam and Rupa. He is secluded from others in that the lust of the world, no more clinging to him than water to a lotus leaf. As I said, all the desires that went off, everything is away from everything which a common public or common man requires. He does not want that. He is out of it. He is out of the lust. He is out of the desire. In the same way, when a lotus we find, the lotus is in the water and the water is impure. It is not good. But that impurity does not affect the petal of the lotus. In the same way, the impurities in this worldly life does not affect the Bodhisatta. He has attained this age. So we can say here, all the desires which are required for a common human being is already gone. And therefore, this Bodhisatta is always benefiting the people with doing charity, being in patience by not hurting anyone, with very tactfulness, with energy, calmness, intelligence, and the higher wisdom, highest wisdom. So all these things he practices in his life with the human being, with all the living beings. He practices there. This is called Duragama. Even though he is not a part of this, nothing is affecting him, but still with the people, he lives with very patience. The eighth thing, it is said, he know now while in this life he knows the Dharma, but presence in it in ways understood by the people, he knows he must be tactful and patient. He knows everything. He knows what a person should do, but he tries to explain everything to the ignorant people in a way that should understand. It's not very hard. His explanation is such a way that everyone understand, and he makes them understand very tactfully and very patiently. Whatever man do to him, he bears with equanimity, for he knows that it is through ignorance they misunderstand his motives. What he does is most of the time, when he is trying to make others understand, most of the time people does not understand his motive, why he is doing. And there is, most of the time, there is a different kind of behavior with the Bodhisatta. But because he is a Bodhisatta, he accepts it with very patience, and he does not react or do any wrong to them, saying that they are misunderstanding it due to their ignorance. This is one thing. And at the same time, it is said he never slackens his energy to benefit all beings, not as he withdraw his mind from wisdom. Therefore, misfortune can never turn him from the righteous path. It is very clearly mentioned that whatever happens, whatever behavior the people do with him, whatever misunderstanding is there due to ignorance, he does not reduces his energy to help the people. He always moves to gain the highest wisdom, and also never go down or feel low to walk on the righteous path. In his eighth life, he becomes Achala. Achala means immovable. All strivings on the part of the Bodhisatta ceases. Means whatever things in the later chapters we'll find where he says, I never quarrel with others, the world quarrels with me. It is the same way where it says, the evil practices which is practiced on him, Bodhisattva ceases all. He just, we can say, he pushes it back, and thus a Bodhisattva reaches that stage where everything happens naturally, and that is the very good for the human being. Means he does not have to do any effort for any good. Naturally all the good things happens, what we say, the kushal karma happens. You don't have to have any more efforts to do it. And he is always succeeded in it. He succeeds in it. In the ninth life, he becomes sadhumati. What is sadhumati here? This is the stage or condition of one who has vanquished and penetrated all dharmas or system, all quarters, and does not enter time. Means here it is said that he reaches that stage where he defeats every evil thing, nothing touches him, and he knows all the system and the dharmas of the natural things, where what will happen when, at what time what will happen. It is like, looking at everything in what is going on, the future is known to him. In his 10th life, he becomes Dharma Mega. The Bodhisatta attains the infinite divine eye of the Buddha. That means he becomes the Buddha. He becomes enlightened. Now, we can say, it is said, the Bodhisatta acquires these 10 powers which are necessary for him when he becomes a Buddha. These are the 10 powers, 10 stages, and we can understand from after reading this that every stage it develops to other stage. Every stage is developing the other stage. It is not like the life after death, but in the life, in the present life too, the Bodhisattva was enjoying this life with stage by stage which developed within him. So it was like we say joy. The first thing was joy, which developed to purity. This purity developed to brightness, that is Prabhakari. This brightness developed to intelligence of fire. This developed to give him the strength to conquer the difficulties. This became developed him to know the truth, the cause, the reason behind of what is the evolution. It developed to the other thing where he is very well accepted the ignorance of the people, and to bring them out of this ignorance, he creates compassion within him, and he does whatever people requires, and he uses his energy for the very calmly and very intelligently to bring the people out of ignorance. This developed dharma within him, which says that to forgive everyone for the ignorance and do not reduce our energy to fight with them or to react with them, but just to help them with a good wisdom and take them to the righteous path. And thus it develops the last stage, we can say, eighth stage, where he becomes immovable, where everything happens naturally. Everything happens naturally. He don't have to do any efforts as he did it in the fourth stage. In the fifth stage, he had to do effort to conquer, to win. But at the eighth stage, he becomes immovable, means he don't have to do any effort. Everything what he does, it's right, and he succeeds in it. And then he knows all the system, he knows all what to do in his life. He is very well known what the future will be, where he has to work, what he has to do. And then he attains that it is said here, it is divine, the eye, which we say, spreading of the Dhamma, to bring everyone out of the ignorance. So these are the 10 powers. I understood that they are difficult to understand here in such a small time, less time. But these words all will be coming again, and we will be able to understand it deeply This mudita and purity, it will comes in 10 paramitas also, where it is said that the 18th point says the Bodhisatta must not only acquire these 10 powers as he evolves from stages to stages. See, here it is clearly mentioned. Stages to stages, not life to life. But earlier point it is mentioned life, succession, the life of succession. But it is clearly mentioned in the 8th point, 10 powers as he evolves from stages to stages. But he must also practice to perfection the 10 paramitas. These 10 paramitas are also explained in later chapters. But most of the places it is not in detail. Maybe after this I will be able, if we complete this all, we can be, we'll go through these points separately to understand it very clearly, because they are the very important points where each and every person who follows Buddha, who knows the teachings of Buddha, they should know how to live a good life with these 10 powers and paramitas. Even though we are not Bodhisatta, but still we can practice accordingly to make ourselves pure and a social person to help the people. Yeah, it is again said, one paramita is to be the end of one life. Again, it is the same thing repeated here, where they are focusing on the life. For one life, one paramita. For one life, one power. No, it is not like that. All these things are in the same life. We have to understand that, and in later stage we'll again we'll try to understand how we can develop within ourselves too. It is really difficult because the fifth stage, it is said, it is very difficult to conquer ourselves. Very difficult. So this stage, it's not very easy for us because we are very reactive person. We are very always reacting with the others. Always do what the things, whatever people do to us, we don't think that it is due to the ignorance, because we are too ignorant to face that kind of situation. So it becomes very difficult for us to go through it, and therefore it is said that stage by stage we have to, paramita must go stage by stage. Again, see, one place it is said one life, and another place it is said stage by stage. And it is only when he is doubly equipped that a bodhisatta becomes qualified for becoming a Buddha. The Buddha is a culminating point in the life of a bodhisatta. That is, this, after acquiring all these 10 powers and 10 paramitas, the bodhisattas, end result we can say, it is the becoming of Buddha, the enlightened one. This is called the culminating point. This is Buddha. This is the life of a bodhisatta. So we have to be very clear where the real things, the stage where it is said, 10th point, 5th life, 5th stage, it is said, to fully understand the connection of the relative and the absolute. This chapter we have to understand in that way. What is relative and what is absolute. Whether everything is related to each other or it is fully real or accurate. We have to understand this, because it is having that kind of dilemma where we can say it is about the life, many lives, 10 lives, or 10 stages in one life, and how we can develop within ourselves. Because whenever we, from here, after the enlightenment of Buddha, we have to relate everything from the Buddha's teachings with our life so that we can follow the Buddha's teachings. So now from here, every chapter we'll have to relate it with ourselves. Okay? And this relation should be absolute. So this difference we'll have to make it within ourselves. So I think I had completed this chapter. I know it is very difficult to understand and to practice in our life, but still we have tried our best. If any questions arises, please be free to ask it. Thank you. Jai Bhim.
Thanks a lot, Bandeji, for the engaging speech. Is there any question participants can ask? To start with, Bandeji, let me start with the question.
Yeah, sure.
These 10 qualities are synonymous to the 10 paramitas, right, Bandeji?
No, they are different. Both of them. 10 powers and 10 paramitas. 10 paramita will come in later chapters.
Okay, Bandeji. And you are negating the idea that Buddha has to take be an expert of these paramita in.
Yeah, it is mentioned here.
Yes, you are negating that. You do not accept that idea.
No. We have to, but not in lives to take new life for that. I'm not negating it. We in the same life we can do it. Even the paramitas.
Okay, the question of being an expert, becoming an expert in another life is always open.
When we go through the rebirth section of this book, then only we'll understand. Because Buddha never talk of the next birth after death.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So this is therefore I said no. It is a dilemma here. Every time it is used word the life of succession, and also it is said every life has one life for this, one life for that, one life for that, all stages in different life. So it is having controversy, like we have to follow it in the same life, we can do it or not, or do we have to take the next life? But Buddha's teachings does not say about the next life after that. Buddha speaks of every moment there is a life. Change of life means we are taking rebirth every moment. In future teachings we'll get to know. So this paramita is therefore it is really very difficult to understand. As we move forward in other chapters, we'll be able to understand it slowly.
Sure, Bandeji, because I was relating it to the question raised by Babasaheb with regard to rebirth of womb. In that he raises a question that whether the same dead person can take a new birth, and he replies in Buddha's perspective that improbable. It is most improbable that Buddha believed that a dead person will take a new birth. So having that in mind, and on the other side, in this section it goes like a Bodhisatta must be Bodhisatta for 10 lives.
Yeah, it is. Yes. It is showing that way. When we read this, we have in our mind that for 10 lives Bodhisatta. But is there 10 life only? If you think of the birth, is it 10 lives? Jatakatha is talking about the 500 lives. Therefore, I read it first, this 21, 22, 23, 24 points. Therefore, I read it first.
Yes.
Okay? So that we should not have that kind in our mind. It is relating to the Brahminical concept. And we have to come out of it. Even though the life word is used, mostly the stages are also used, Two words are used. Life and stage by stage. Stage by stage does not include life after death. Stages in one life can be there. So here, as it is said, no, this 18 point, it is say, evolves from stage to stage. 10 powers as he evolves from stage to stage.
Yes.
Okay? So this stage to stage, even Parmita, but it is related with life also. They means both 2 points they are taking and they are contrary to each other. Okay? So we have to be very clear. If we understand Buddha's teachings, we'll get to know in future, later chapters will know it. Okay, when we come to rebirth. Rebirth chapter is there. And in this, what we can say, the introduction part, Babasaheb had said very well here that we have to rethink about this, some questions here where he talks on the rebirth also. The karma, the third problems. The third problem relates to the doctrine of soul, of karma and rebirth. See, in the introduction part it is mentioned. So we have to rethink over it. It is not to accept as it is written in the book. Okay? Because most of the things Babasaheb has taken from the Tripitaka, and he says he was not able to deny many things. But he denied. Okay? So in chapters, in later chapters, we'll be able to clear it up. And this kind of things every chapter will have. So in between, I will have to take the references of other books also while going through this. Okay, because in this book, the detail is not mentioned. It's just the points and points. Okay. So these points we have to understand in very detailed way. Getting it? I know everyone is not understanding this. It's really very difficult. But let's see in later stages. Yeah.
We can understand as Babasaheb, whatever he has read in the canonical literatures, he is presenting us, especially the book 1 and all, the life of Siddhartha Gautama and all. So whatever is there in the canonical literature, he is presenting that. But later on, he gives his own opinion in the later parts of the book. And we also should take that in mind.
We can say it is the interpretation of Babasaheb on Buddha's teachings. You know, people take it literal meaning. Many of the things of Buddha's teachings, because it was in Pali, people take it literally. But when we interpret with many meanings, you know, every word has different meaning, many meanings we can say. And which meaning suits to the teachings of Buddha, which is out of superstition, you know, we have to take that. If it is with superstition and if it is not for the humankind, or not for the benefit of humankind, we just have to deny it. We just have to leave it. Okay, that if three meanings are there, one meaning is saying it is orthodox, it is superstitious, and it is not for the benefit of the humankind. Okay, we have to leave that. The other meaning, which is totally for Bahujan Hitaya and Bahujan Sukhaya, you know, for the benefit of the humankind, we have to take it. Whether it is traditional or not, because traditionally the things are accepted just because it was earlier it was taken by the Brahmins, you know, they were doing that things. So it was like they were not able to deny many things. So it moved with Buddha's teachings. The Brahminical techniques, the Brahminical way of living, it was mixed with the Buddha's teachings and it was taken traditionally generation to generation. So now also we are doing the same thing, many things. We are not ready to accept the real thing because it is not for our good, but it is good for the humanity thing. We are not ready to accept it. Okay? So here it is where in one point it is said, no, he to get the highest wisdom. You know, the point is here. That is the a seventh stage, he says. For the highest wisdom, he is ready to sacrifice everything. Sacrifice what? Which are not required, you know. We have to sacrifice it. Many of the people are taking it as tradition. But we have to sacrifice things. Only to know to get the highest wisdom. And that highest wisdom is to differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. Which is very difficult to do. In one side we'll say, oh, this seems right. The other way we think that this is right. So it's very difficult to make out what is right. You know, for me it can be right, for you it may be wrong. But is it right for many people? For Bahujan? We have to, that is the Kalam Sutta will come in future again. Okay? We'll get to know there. That is also not explained very detailed in this book. I will, when we come to that point, I will take the reference of the Sutta, Buddha's Sutta, there in Kalam Sutta. I will be explaining you from that. Then we'll find out whether, how it becomes right. And for whom? For me, for you, or for all? This is the very difficult point where we have to understand. So, let's hope.
Thank you, Bandiji.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions from participants?
Yeah, I think Arthur wants to ask something.
So, Prabhakar, sir, you have any questions or Prashant?
Bhantiji, I have a small query.
Yeah, sure.
So, you use a word called impurity. I want to know more about how we can use impurity and see that tradition of Pali, and what's the meaning of impurity in Pali.
Impurity, here it is explained, the impurity in the minds, the thoughts of impurity, the thoughts of impurity, you know, impure thoughts. That is called the akushal thoughts. Because everything comes in our mind first. And if they are impure means if our thoughts are like to hurt others, we are not thinking for the benefit of others. We are selfish. That becomes impure thoughts. So it is, here it is said, no, thoughts of lust means we are becoming so much selfish that what worldly requirements are there, we are going for it. It is the seventh point here. That is the second life of acquiring purity, where he says, remove all thoughts of lust. The all thoughts of lust is called impurity. That is for our own benefit. We are requiring the things. We are going for it. I want it, I want it, I want it. But removing that, we are thinking of others for the kind of all. You know, here it is said flatters, you know. He neither flatters. Flatters means as nowadays we do with the leaders, political leaders. We flatter them. You know, whatever wrong they are doing, we praise them. This is flattering. Bodhisatta never flatter. They say the truth on their mouth, in front of them. That is impurity. If you are flattering, means you are cheating yourself, you are cheating the others. That is impurity of mind, impurity of thought in your mind. Okay? If someone is we think that they are not our people, they are not friendly with me, and they are doing the good, we never praise them. We always go against them, even though we know that that person is doing right thing, but still we are going against because he is not friendly to me. That is again flattering, cheating to ourselves and cheating to others. So if we are not cheating others and we are accepting the truth, that is taking off all the impurities from our mind. Getting it?
Yes, Bhante, yes.
That's good.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
I'm trying my best to make it clear.
Oh, Bandiri, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is Prabhakar
Please.
from Bangalore.
Yeah. Sure.
So actually, it was very interesting discussion and the idea of birth and rebirth and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a necessity for us. When we are the activists or when we are exploring into the Buddhism of the present day, it is necessary for the next generation to tell what is stand of Buddhism in regard to the birth and rebirth clearly.
Yeah, sure.
And we cannot again end things in the ambiguity.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of birth and rebirth, or so if you are again in the 18th, 19th century, there was a scientist called Kant, Immanuel Kant. So he was saying that truth is unknowable. You cannot know the truth. So don't even try that. That is humanly not possible. So Immanuel Kant said that even scientific truth or truth is not possible. Don't even try that. So in a way, if you are going to end in saying that it is the meaning is very different, there are multiple meanings, and everybody derive their own meaning. I think I'm scared, and that the new generation will not be attracted. The next generation will not be attracted into Buddhism. It's my scared. So I'm understanding there are certain difficulties in making meanings and our own limitations in making these meanings. But then when we put things for the next generation, for the scholars in the for the next generation who are coming into Buddhism, we have to put things in different forms. Otherwise, they will say that this is a confused one. They are only starting, we not know what it is. So what we are saying about the human beings, what we are saying about the human thought process, what we are saying about the nature and the history of humankind, all this should sink, and we should be able to give a very clear and scientific, rational, reasonable and acceptable sort of interpretation. Whether people agree or not, that's a different thing. But from the canonical and from the texts of the Buddhist thing, and with the refined information provided by Babasaheb Ambedkar, we should be able to present in different forms. This is what I think. So we should not leave anything left in ambiguity. So that's my. I mean, today I get this idea that whether we should leave things saying that it is in Pali, so people may take it in different context and different situation. So whether we will not give any different things. So how do we? I mean, I find it difficult for myself that whether we are living the Buddhist interpretation in ambiguity.
Actually, in this topics, these subjects of rebirth and the meaning, it is clearly explained in this book, in later chapters. Okay, and scientifically explained. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very scientifically explained and acceptable. Therefore, I said in later chapters we'll go through it.
Okay.
I can, if I take it here, means it would be like a mismatch, like, many things in between are going. So I just express myself that we have to leave it here accordingly, because what I said, the meanings of it, it is also explained in Kalam Sutta.
Okay.
Okay? So we'll be going through it, and scientifically it is accepted.
That's what.
Yeah, it is there.
Okay,
So now we are
good.
feeling that way. Yeah, we'll do it. Okay?
Oh, fine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Prabhakar.
Yeah, sure.
Mandiji, so Prabhakar was saying about there should not be ambiguity.
Yeah.
So, of course, with regard to
புத்திஸ்ட் சரணன் ஒரு 15 பேர் ஆன்லைன்ல பண்ணாங்க, பஞ்சேஜி பண்ணாங்க.
Prabhakar, are you talking to us?
Hi. Yeah, we can end.
Can you
Hello?
continue? Yes, sir. Yes, Prabhakar. Sir, you want to say anything?
I am done.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Bandiji, so Prabhakar was saying that there should not be any ambiguity. Of course, with regard to rebirth, we will be discussing later. But in this context, the last session point came to my mind, because at one instant, when Buddha was doubtful about his enlightenment, when Siddhartha was doubtful about his enlightenment, he was testing it by throwing the bowl, and it ascended the stream like that. So when we talk about there should not be any ambiguities, so we should consider that this story is not true. We should interpret in such kind of manner.
Actually, what I explained there, were you there for last meeting?
No, apologies, Bandiji. I thought that question wouldn't have raised.
Yeah, I explained it that time. It is said there. I'll come to that thing.
Para 4, Bandiji. Meditation for New Light, Para 4.
Yeah, Para 4. Okay. See, here the word has come. If I am to have enlightenment, let the bowl ascend the stream. If not, let it go down. Find out the meaning of ascent. If we find out the meaning, there are 2-3 meanings. In other way, or everyone says ascending means going up, it's okay. Okay? But going backward, it's not the meaning. But everyone is saying that it is backward. Going against the stream. Against, ascent does not mean against the stream. Okay? So, this is confusion is there. When we say bowl ascend the stream, means going above the stream. Does above means against? Here we have to think of it. We have put this sentence in Facebook and asked what does people understand from this sentence. But everyone is saying against the stream. Everyone is saying against the stream. And it was explained earlier that going against the stream means going what people are doing in their life. They are moving on in this direction, in front direction. Will my teachings will be accepted? Okay? When we move against the people's tradition or whatever they are doing it. So it is said that way, but here it is before getting the enlightenment. So two things are coming. Some say it is after enlightenment he puts the bowl, and some say before enlightenment he puts the bowl. I don't know, here it is like not let it go down. Whenever a bowl is there, the bowl, it is hollow. A bowl, when it is put in a water, it doesn't sink. It doesn't sink directly unless it is filled with water. And that too, at the whole vessel has to be filled with water, then only it will sink. Whether it is heavy or light, even heavy vessels flow on water. It depends on the density. Okay? So, well, automatically the ball will not sink unless it is full with water. And it says it should ascend the stream. Now, there is a confusion. Ascent is in moving forward or moving backward. But it is mentioned here, it goes and sank near the palace of Naga King Kala. The bowl can, or whatever thing we put in water, it may move against the stream only when there is what we say, the cyclone type thing, When there is a cyclone behind and the river is moving forward and we put something in the river, it will move towards the cyclone. It goes whirls, like round. The water is moving that place and it goes there. So maybe it was there, or it is moving forward and it moves near the palace of the Naga king. It sinks there. And therefore when it sinks there, the Naga king gets to know. It is not, the Naga king is not Nag. Nag is a totem. Otherwise they would, here in this book it would have mentioned the cobra, because Nag is called cobra. Okay, it is not the cobra. It is the Naga king. That is the king which is having Nag as a totem. And Siddhartha gets the help of this king. So it's really very controversy part here also, and very confusing. We have put this here, no one is giving the correct answer of this ascent. We found it, so I will have to find more references on it. I am doing that. I am trying to find out the references. Everywhere people are saying it is against the stream. But according to the dictionary meaning, it's moving forward. Okay, moving forward.
Yes,
moving upward or maybe moving forward. So it's nothing unscientific here. Okay, so it's moving forward. I don't know why this point has been kept here. Whenever anyone offers some food to anyone, they never give the bowl or the plate or something. They just offer it and take it back. But how this bowl remain with Siddhartha, we don't know. It's just to make us confused. I think so. And what did happen, many of the things we say, it is mixed with Brahminical text, most of the things. I found when I was in Tamil Nadu last time, I think in Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, somewhere else, we went to the bhikkhus there, they took me to a marriage. I went there and I saw the people are offering fruits in the big plate. So what the bhikkhus did, they kept the plate with them. into that. This is our experiences we find where Buddha says you have to eat in your own bowl. Okay, you're going for alms, you get food in your own bowl. So you eat it, you wash it and you keep it. You cannot keep more than one bowl with you. And this kind of thing, if they are giving in a plate, you have to take everything in your own bowl and return the other things in which they are giving. So this kind of things which is mentioned here, it is affecting the living of the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. Where Buddha says, don't collect things with you. Don't collect it. So this Buddha has taken the bowl and without collecting it, he has gone and putting in the river. He would have given it back to him. And he was very clear that he will attain the enlightenment. He was very confident enough. So this was not the need to show that the bowl should go and then only if it goes according to him, then only he will attain it. This is just to confuse us, I think. And we have to accept it, which is not acceptable in our life and which is not affecting our life. You know, we should avoid this kind of things. Buddha also refused to give answers to the questions which cannot be proved. And he said, whether the things what you believe in, it is affecting your life, then you believe it. The things which you do not believe and it is affecting it in your life, do not believe. Means Buddha was very clear, whatever happens, it should be affecting your life, the present life, the life between your birth and death, not before birth, not after death. So it is affecting and it is good for you, good for the people, good for the Bahujan, then you accept it. Okay? Otherwise, leave it. Because many things will come which will confuse you. So we have to be very clear which things to be accepted, which things not to be accepted. And it will again, I'll say, it will come in Kalama Sutta. Okay?
Just a thought was coming in my mind when you were explaining about the bowl. When you throw the empty bowl inside the water, it will not touch the floor of the. It will not touch the floor. Again, it will come. I suppose even in that sense, we can take it as an ascent, something like that. It was just happening in my mind.
Okay.
Because as you said, when it is full of water only, it will go down. So immediately when you throw an empty bowl and it's upside down, where air is in between, so it will not touch the floor. So in that sense, maybe I do not know. But entirely, as you said, we have to take the crux of the Kalama Sutta and interpret.
Yes. Kalama Sutta is there to interpret everything.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. Okay.
I suppose, is there any other questions? I suppose there is none. Thanks a lot. And on this Paurnami day, we had an engaging discussion with Bandiji, and thanks for a patient explanation as well, Bandiji.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Jai Bhim and Namo Buddhaya.
Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya.
We can leave now. Thank you.
Yeah.